Hello, my name is Pastor Kris Kollar. I'm the pastor of Pleasant Valley Lutheran Church near Malabar Farm and St. Paul Lutheran Church in Lucas, Ohio. Greetings. We are reading through the Bible with commentary. We have gotten through 5 and most of the 6th verse chapter. Keep saying this book of the Bible. We are in the book of Joshua. The Israelites have crossed over the Jordan River, have defeated most but not all of the people in the land of Canaan, have divided up the territory into little portions, and well, not little, big portions, and have said, okay, each clan gets this area. And now we are up to chapter 20. I think we will have today and probably tomorrow, and then we will be done with the book of Joshua and on to the next phase of the Israelite history. But in chapter 20, we hear about cities of refuge, which we also heard about back in Exodus and Deuteronomy. Then the Lord spoke to Joshua, saying, "Say to the Israelites, appoint the cities of refuge of which I spoke to you through Moses, so that anyone who kills a person without intent or by mistake may flee there. They shall be for you a refuge from the avenger of blood. The slayer shall flee to one of these cities, and shall stand at the entrance of the gate of the city, and explain the case to the elders of that city. Then the fugitive shall be taken into the city, and given a place, and shall remain with them. And if the avenger of blood is in pursuit, they shall not give up the slayer, because the neighbor was killed by mistake, there having been no enmity between them before." So this is a case where somebody somehow accidentally, unintentionally murders somebody. So we would perhaps call that manslaughter. Did not mean to kill the person, but they did. So the other person's blood relative has the right to come and kill them, as they've killed their person. But they can run to one of these cities of refuge and not be killed by the avenger. But verse 6, the slayer shall remain in that city until there is a trial before the congregation, until the death of the one who is high priest at the time. Then the slayer may return home to the town in which the deed was done. So he has to stay there. There's a trial. It did say earlier, if the trial is such that they say, oh, he meant to do this, then they do actually can remove him from the city of refuge. But otherwise, if they say, no, this was accidental, didn't mean to happen, then he can live sort of a form of like house arrest, only not his own house. He has to go to the city of refuge. And then how long is he there? Until the high priest passes away, and who knows how long that might be. Verse 7, so they set apart Kedesh in Galilee in the hill country of Naphtali, and Shechem in the hill country of Ephraim, and Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, in the hill country of Judah. So 3 cities. And beyond the Jordan, east of Jericho, they appointed Bezer in the wilderness on the tableland, from the tribe of Reuben, and Ramoth in Gilead, from the tribe of Gad, and Golan and Bashan from the tribe of Manasseh. These were the cities designated for all the Israelites, and for the aliens residing among them, that anyone who killed a person without intent could flee there, so as not to die by the hand of the avenger of blood, until there was a trial before the congregation. So they flee, they can be taken in, they have sanctuaries, or sometimes they're referred to as sanctuary cities. This version is calling them cities of refuge. They can be there and get a trial. But again, if the trial finds them guilty, that doesn't help them much. But if they're not, then they get to stay there as long as they need. Well, until the high priest dies, then they can go back home. So, chapter 21. Then the heads of the families of the Levites came to the priest Eleazar and to Joshua son of Nun, and to the heads of the families of the tribes of Israelites. They said to them at Shiloh in the land of Canaan, "The Lord commanded through Moses that we be given towns to live in, along with their pasture lands for our livestock. So by command of the Lord, the Israelites gave to the Levites the following towns and pasture lands out of their inheritance. The lot came out for the families of the Kohathites. So those Levites who were descendants of Aaron the priest received by lot 13 towns from the tribes of Judah, Simeon, and Benjamin. The rest of the Kohathites received by lot 10 towns from the families of the tribe of Ephraim, from the tribe of Dan, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. The Gershonites received by lot 13 towns from the families of the tribe of Issachar, from the tribe of Asher, from the tribe of Naphtali, from the half-tribe of Manasseh and Bashan. The Merarites, according to their families, received 12 towns from the tribe of Reuben, the tribe of Gad, and the tribe of Zebulun. These towns and their pasture lands the Israelites gave by lot to the Levites, as the Lord had commanded through Moses. Verse 9, out of the tribe of Judah and the tribe of Simeon, they gave the following towns mentioned by name, which went to the descendants of Aaron, one of the families of the Kohathites who belonged to the Levites, since the lot fell to them first. They gave them Kiriath Arba, Arba being the father of Anak, that is Hebron, in the hill country of Judah, along with the pasture lands around it. But the fields of the town and its villages had been given to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, as his holding. To the descendants of Aaron the priest they gave Hebron, the city of refuge for the slayer, with its pasture lands, Libnah with its pasture lands, Jatir with its pasture lands, Eshtemoa with its pasture lands, Holon with its pasture lands, Debir with its pasture lands, Ain with its pasture lands, Juttah with its pasture lands, and Bethshemesh with its pasture lands, 9 towns out of those 2 tribes. Out of the tribe of Benjamin, Gibeon with its pasture lands, Geba with its pasture lands, Anathoth with its pasture lands, and Almon with its pasture lands, 4 towns. The towns of the descendants of Aaron, the priests, were 13 in all with their pasture lands. Verse 20, as to the rest of the Kohathites, belonging to the Kohathite families of the Levites, the towns allotted to them were out of the tribe of Ephraim. To them were given Shechem, the city of refuge for the slayer, with its pasture lands in the hill country of Ephraim, Gezer with its pasture lands, Kibzaim with its pasture lands, and Beth-horon with its pasture lands, 4 towns. Out of the tribe of Dan, Elteke with its pasture lands, Gibbethon with its pasture lands, Aijalon with its pasture lands, Gathrimmon with its pasture lands, 4 towns. Out of the half-tribe of Manasseh, Taanach with its pasture lands, and Gathrimmon with its pasture lands, 2 towns. The towns of the rest of the Kohathites, the towns of the families of the rest of the Kohathites were 10 in all, with their pasture lands. To the Gershonites, one of the families of the Levites, were given out of the half-tribe of Manasseh, Golan in Bashan with its pasture lands, the city of refuge for the slayer, and Beeshtira with its pasture lands, 2 towns. Out of the tribes of Issachar, Kishaon with its pasture lands, Daberath with its pasture lands, Jarmuth with its pasture lands, and Ganim with its pasture lands, 4 towns. Out of the tribe of Asher, Mishal with its pasture lands, Abdon with its pasture lands, Helkath with its pasture lands, and Rehob with its pasture lands, 4 towns. Out of the tribe of Naphtali, Kedesh in Galilee with its pasture lands, the city of refuge for the slayer, Hamothdor with its pasture lands, and Kartan with its pasture lands, 3 towns. The towns of several families of the Gershonites were all 13 with their pasture lands. So these are not huge areas of land like other families are receiving. They are expected to live in the town. So the Levites are getting the whole town and land around it for their animals. Verse 34. To the rest of the Levites, the Merarite families, were given out of the tribes of Zebulun, Jokneam with its pasture lands, Karta with its pasture lands, Dimnah with its pasture lands, Nahal with its pasture lands, 4 towns. Out of the tribe of Reuben, Bezer with its pasture lands, Jaza with its pasture lands, Kedemoth with its pasture lands, and Bethaath with its pasture lands, 4 towns. Out of the tribe of Gad, Ramoth and Gilead with its pasture lands, the city of refuge for the slayer. Mahanaim with its pasture lands, Heshbon with its pasture lands, Jazer with its pasture lands, 4 towns in all. As for the towns of several Merarite families, that is, the remainder of the families of the Levites, those allotted to them were 12 in all. The towns of the Levites within the holdings of the Israelites were in all 48 towns with their pasture lands. Each of these towns had its pasture lands around it, so it was with all these towns. Thus the Lord gave to Israel all the land that he swore to their ancestors that he would give them, and having taken possession of it, they settled there. And the Lord gave them rest on every side, just as he had sworn to their ancestors. Not one of all their enemies had withstood them, for the Lord had given all their enemies into their hands. Not one of all the good promises that the Lord had made to those of the house of Israel had failed. All came to pass. We could probably finish the book. We're only at 10 minutes. But there are 3 more chapters, and I think the 3 more chapters will work together well. So I'll just say that the next part is all of the people that had come over, Reuben and Gad and half tribe of Manasseh that came to help fight, got to go back home. We'll hear about that tomorrow. So application. God is faithful, and God did all of the things that he promised that he would do. The Israelites, not so faithful. And we will hear as they fall away and come back, and fall away and come back as we read through the Old Testament. It's a very consistent story that happens over and over again. God is faithful, humans, not so much. And then also just a note that Deuteronomy and Joshua, all of these are written a little bit poetically. The Lord was faithful and gave them rest and defeated all their enemies, except they didn't defeat all of the Canaanites, and they didn't defeat all of the Philistines, and they didn't defeat everybody in the Gaza Strip, which is still there. So it wasn't a complete and total takeover. It was a more gradual possession that took time, probably like 5 years for them to move in and defeat all the people and divide up the land and start settling in. But they're starting to. And after tomorrow, we'll hear the end of Joshua. We'll get into Judges and what happens after Joshua. So right now, the people of Israel have one strong leader in Joshua who followed Moses, but that is not necessarily how it's going to be in the future. So God is faithful. I think I keep coming back to that. What is the application as we're reading through all these cities with their pasture lands and city with their pasture lands? That God said, I'm going to do this, and God did it. God made promises, and God kept them. And God is faithful to us as well. And sometimes it's hard to remember that when life is hard, and I get salty as anybody else. And it's hard when you're trying to deal with things, and it's frustrating. And God is faithful. Even when things are not going the way we like them to do, even if things seem to be absolutely awful, because they are, somehow in the midst of the terrible things, there's God. And he says in Psalm 23, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, because God is with me. It does not say that God will pluck us out of the valley. It says that God goes with us when we walk through valleys. And sometimes the valleys are awful and they kill us, but God is with us through those valleys because God is faithful. So something to think about. Now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord look at you with favor and give you peace. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Go in peace. Like, subscribe, comment. Serve the Lord. Thanks be to God. Appreciate you. See you tomorrow.